First of all, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. My name is Joe Stewart, and I count it a great privilege to have you for an audience. If you've been watching any of the news lately, I'm sure you're aware of the upcoming presidential election in November. With that in mind, you possibly are thinking that I'm trying to push a certain candidate on you, or perhaps a personal agenda. However, that is not the purpose of this speech, but the purpose of this speech is merely to address a single word that I see to be sadly missing in America today. And what is that word? Responsibility. Merriam-Webster in his dictionary put it this way: responsibility is a quality or state of being responsible, as a moral, legal, or mental accountability. Almost all of us would agree that America needs change. We agree that the government needs change. However, we seem to all disagree on how to bring that change about. Democrat or Republican? Conservative or liberal? And with that presidential election arriving within a couple of months, these disagreements are heating up quickly. Which candidate is right for America? Which one will bring the best change to this country? There's a lot of questions being thrown around, and I'd like to add one to the mix. Think about this for a few moments. Is government really even capable of changing America? Is government the answer to our problems? Ronald Reagan certainly didn't think so. He said, government is not a solution to our problem. Government is the problem. It has never been government's responsibility to change America, and it never will be. It is our responsibility as citizens of this great country. Once we realize that, everything else will fall into place. Once we begin taking responsibility for our personal actions, our country will forever be changed for the better. Our Constitution gave us a democratic republic, and as such, our government was intended to reflect the values and wishes of the people. With that in mind, if we really want change in government, we must first change ourselves. As I said before, I'm not trying to push a certain candidate or push a certain party. I am merely calling for all Americans everywhere, in all walks of life, whether politically involved or not, to accept personal responsibility for the situation America is in. And we have to stop blaming this situation on the Democrats or the Republicans. We have to stop blaming it on the President or Congress. We can't blame it anymore on the Supreme Court or on the IRS or on government agencies, on the Department of Homeland Security, Social Security, on mortgage companies, insurance companies, on the war in Iraq or the war on terror. We cannot blame it on any of these things. Now, do I have a bone to pick with any of these? Do I personally completely agree with government on everything? Of course not. Everyone has their personal view of party politics, the President, Congress, the war, and the many government agencies that affect our everyday lives. However, does that change anything? Will the government or government agencies make this country better or pull us out of our economic slump? Unfortunately, not now and not ever. Government was never intended to rescue the nation. It was merely intended to protect the people and give them the chance to rescue themselves. You and I, no matter what our political position, personal beliefs, or economic status, are the answer. We must start taking responsibility for our own actions. For instance, when you were a child, you were completely dependent upon your parents for everything. However, as you grew older, you became more and more independent. And why is that? Because as you grew up, you became more and more responsible. And that is what we must do as citizens of America. We must grow up, so to speak, and begin accepting personal responsibility for our actions. We already know that the government will not, so it's up to us. But that's the way it always meant to be. Abraham Lincoln echoed the sentiments of the Founding Fathers when he said it this way at the end of his famous Gettysburg Address: "And that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." I love America, and I'm incredibly proud to be called an American. I will forever be grateful that I was born here and am privileged to live here. However, I realize that along with the benefits of living in America and the privileges and the rights, there comes great responsibility. The responsibility to ensure that government is following the Constitution, and the responsibility to govern ourselves. When we as a nation assume that government is the answer to all America's problems, we feed ourselves a lie. The people are the answer, and it must start in our individual lives. Then it will cross over into our families, then into our communities, and eventually it will spill over into our government. After all, government is of the people, by the people, for the people. This is our time, and we must rise to the challenge with confidence and responsibility. Then, and only then, will we find genuine, positive change in America. Once again, thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope you'll be back next time. Take care, and God bless America.